I won some pretty big keys from ComicLink this week. Stay tuned to see what I picked up. Hey comic book fans, this is Rusty again from Collector Auctions, and I have got a comic book haul for you today. I have got 2 orders coming in from ComicLink, as well as an order that came in from Whatnot. And I'm going to tell you, the books that I've got from ComicLink are pretty big keys. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for the last part of the video when I open up those boxes. But today we're going to start with the first box, which is from Whatnot, and it is from LJ Comics. It is the first time I've ever bought from them. So when we get into that box, we're going to find out what I got, because to be honest with you, I can't even remember. This is one of those sellers that ends up just doing generic names for their auction so they can auction anything they want to at any point during the show. They don't have to have it preloaded with the exact book or anything. So makes it a little bit hard for me to go back and know which book, how much I paid for each book. I suppose I should have taken screenshots at the time, but when we open up that box, we will get into that and be a little bit of discovery. I know I got some good things, I just don't remember what I got. But before we begin, hit that like button, slap the subscribe, and definitely hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on great comic book content like this each and every week, Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. All right, guys, this is what you came for. Let's get into the books. All right, guys, here we go. This is the first box I've got right here. This is my Whatnot win from about 2 weeks ago now, actually. Took them a little while to get this in. This is from LJ Comics off of Whatnot. First time I've ever used them. And I just happened to be perusing Whatnot and seeing what was out there. And usually these days what I'm doing is I'm looking for Bronze Age sellers, because they'll definitely have some modern stuff in there, but they also will have some Silver Age. So it's a little bit more of the books I'm more interested in. I don't do too many modern age sellers anymore, but I just happened on the seller and stayed on the show for a little bit and ended up winning a few things. What I won, I don't remember. As I said in the intro, they do an auction like many sellers do on Whatnot, where they have a generic title for a particular auction. And they do that, I guess, so they don't have to spend a lot of time putting in exact books. And this way they can auction off anything they want to. They just put in a ton of these generic names and generic auctions, and they can auction off all kinds of things at any point. And it kind of opens up the show a little bit, because you could get anything on that show. They literally, I watched him, he's just going through a box and it's just a ton of different things, and he's skipping around. There's about 4 different boxes I think they were picking through, and they pull something out, he'd skip some things, whatever struck his fancy, that's what they would auction. So I stuck around because some of the books were of interest, and I like, oh, okay, I won one. When you win one, you want to win a couple so you can reduce that shipping fee per item. So let's just get into the box. Here's the box right here. It came in today. As I said, it's really from about a week ago. And it's a little slower than I would have liked. I've had faster orders. In fact, I had a couple of other, from my last show, we had a couple sellers that had some stuff that came in. I won at the same time, but it came in days earlier, and we were actually already able to do the video to that. But let's get into this box. And I apologize. I normally would open up these boxes ahead of time, but I'm kind of getting back into the tradition of just doing straight up unboxings, and rather than just comic book reveals. I think it adds a little bit to it, although it can be a little tedious if I take too long here opening this up. All right, so what we got, we haven't opened it now. And we got a couple scraps of bubble wrap in there, but we've got 2 manila envelopes. And as we open it up, I'll show you their packaging. They have taken some priority mail boxes that they have folded themselves. Now, this is something I used to do when I first started selling a lot on eBay, raw books. I would use priority mail boxes like this to make my own semi-Gemini mailers, really. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, except you can see there's definitely tape right here next to the books. So I'm going to try to be real careful. Ugh. I don't like that knife having to go in there on that close to the books, but let's just see if we can do this without damaging anything. Well, wasn't the best opening, but we got into the first box, and okay, now I remember some of the stuff I was buying. Yeah, this kind of hit one of those, this is one of those auctions where I started getting stuff that I probably shouldn't be buying this at this point, especially with those ComicLink orders I'm going to open up later, where those are a lot more expensive books. But these were all real inexpensive, and I don't even have prices. I can't even give you prices on them. But we'll just go through them real fast. These are fun, older books. I don't remember getting this first one, to be honest with you. I think that he threw this one in. This is Garrison's Gorillas. This is Dale Comic 15 Center. I don't think that was a win. I think that he literally just threw that in. But I remember this. This is the first one I picked up. This was Space Mouse from Dale Comics. And yeah, the condition's a little rough, but I have an affinity for some of these older books like this. And sorry, what I'm doing is he has Post-it notes on the front of all these, so I'm taking them off. He has the Aristocrats. This is, I think this is just straight up the Aristocrats. I don't think this, I don't know if it was a number 1, number 2. I think it was just the number 1. It's the movie adaptation is what it says. So that was pretty cool. And especially since I've been kind of trying to find some of these Gold Key Disney books, specifically The Adventures of Robin Hood. If you guys have that book out there and it's in really good shape and you're interested in selling, definitely reach out to me because I would be interested in that. But this falls right there into that Disney kind of interesting book, early 70s, kids book. This one has some damage to it. It's not, definitely has some color rub over there, although the corners are really sharp. Fun pickup. Let's see, another Dale comic here. We have Porky Pig, number 330. And I was picking these things up for $1, $2, $3. Yes, it was probably paying more for postage than I was for the books themselves. But like I said, I really love these old books like this, and I don't mind holding on to them for a little bit. I don't think any of these are going to be grading candidates. This is Oswald the Rabbit. This is number 67. That's a 10-center. And there's an interesting one. It's actually in pretty decent shape, it looks like. This is 13 going on 18. And I don't know which issue number that is. But that was out of the first batch. And, you know, this is one of those things where, guys, if you are like these older books like this, you know, definitely pick these up. I'm not telling you go out there and get these books. These are for fun. This is kind of a PC thing more than anything. I find these books interesting, and I think that it makes the collecting interesting, buying books like this. These are books that were all, except for that Aristocrats, are all older than me, and I just think they're fun things to collect. All right, here's the second box. You probably heard me rattling the envelope as I was talking, and again, it's got tape next to the books, and I'm going to try to be real careful here. Now, part of the problem about a seller on Whatnot who is selling doing auctions with the titles as generic titles like this, when I go back to take a look at my purchases and when I go back to see how much I paid on each of these books, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I might be able to say, I'll show you here, he's got little Post-it notes. Maybe I need to make sure I put those on the back of each one of these. That's probably about the only way I'm going to be able to match up this to the listing, because I got to keep track of this, how much I spend on these things. And yeah, it's definitely one of those where I need to go back and write this down right now. Right after the show, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to pull up Whatnot, I'm going to go into my purchases, I'm going to look for this number, and I'm going to see if I can match it up to see how much I paid for each item. But here we go. This is Real Screen Comics. This is featuring the Fox and the Crow. This is a DC comic, actually, from 1950, issue number 57. And then my real love of the old books goes to Disney and Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge. This is Walt Disney's Comics and Stories. This is number 242. Here, I'm going to move some of these books down so I can get them all in there. Now, here's a gold key from 1967. You got the Beagle Boys, and I have no idea what issue number that is. That's a really nice, clean copy, though. Those whites on that cover are really white. That's a nice pickup. And I did actually get a Marvel book in this order. This one's really good. Fantasy Masterpieces from, I don't know what year this was. This is late 60s, but Fantasy Masterpieces back in the 60s was reprinting some of the original older stories. You got Cap on there, so let's see what they have. Yeah, judging by the pictures on there, they were reprinting some of the Golden Age Captain America stories, what it looks like. I don't think I had any Fantasy Masterpieces when I was growing up. I remember buying Marvel Collector's Item Classics. Those were reprinting the original Marvel comics from the early 60s. But I think Fantasy Masterpieces might have been doing some of the stuff from the Golden Age. And now these were fun pickups. These are from Charlton. I remember I actually had these books. I had, this is the all-new Yang, number 2. I remember that cover. And I never had the first issue, but after I won the second issue here, I had to go ahead and get the first issue. I never had that, but I always had that second issue and maybe the third, but I had to go and get that. Those are really cool, and it's actually, both of those are in really nice shape. I don't know what the values are. It'll be fun to look those up. And then the last book I got from LJ Comics off of Whatnot was another Walt Disney Comics and Stories. It is issue 229. And it's a little rougher than I would have liked. On the camera, it looked a little bit better, but again, I'm not paying a lot for these things. These are all $2, $3, $4, $5, things like that. I mean, it added up a little bit, but this was not a tremendously expensive order, and these are fun books to have. To be honest with you, I think I'm going to end up reading most of these first before I do anything. But, I'll bag and board them, of course, and try to protect them and preserve them, but I'm not going to. None of these, for the most part, are grading candidates. So anyway, these were great pickups just for fun, and I encourage you guys, if you ever want to buy some of these things like this, go out there. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but it's interesting, and you get to see how the books are reproduced, and you get to see the ads. You don't get to see that too much in some of the reproductions and the reprints and the facsimile reprints from years later from today. But having some of these old books like this brings back a lot of memories of some of the... No, I had the Aristocrats, I'm pretty sure, but I didn't have the other ones, although I had the Yang, number 2, and I had books that reprinted some of the stories that you probably have seen, some of those Walt Disney stories. I've read most of these over the years, just in later editions and later reprints. But great pickups. You guys let me know what you think of these pickups. Are these books worth getting? I don't know. I enjoyed them. It's kind of fun. You don't always have to be out there getting big keys. Of course, what are we going to do in the next few minutes? We're going to sit down and get big keys. So I do a little bit of everything. So we start off the video today with small, minor, fun books. All right, so thanks for sticking around. Here are the 2 boxes I got from ComicLink. And if you guys have ever bought from ComicLink, they run auctions every day. And if you win auctions in one day, they're going to ship and you're going to get billed for that one day. So if you win auctions the next day, well, you're going to end up getting another shipment, another invoice. So I know I won these back-to-back last week, but because it was different days, I ended up paying separate invoices and getting two different shipments. And I didn't like that particularly. I do like Heritage Auctions when they do the weekly comic book sales on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You don't get billed until the very end. You have 3 days of auctions, and if you win multiple things over those 3 days, it all goes onto one invoice. I like that. But regardless, we have 4 books here. It should be 2 in each one. I don't know which one is which. So we're just going to start with the first one. And I will tell you this. This is the tease. these are all keys, and they go from big keys to really big keys. And I'm trying to think. I know of the ones I've got on here. I've had 3 of the 4 in my PC at different times. In fact, I've got 3 of the 4 in the PC right now, and I think one of them. Yeah, I've got one of them. I've got actually 2 of the 3 I've gotten graded. The 4th one out of these boxes, I've never owned before, and well, we'll get into it. So here we go. We're opening it up, and ComicLink, let me show you, loves peanuts. Like, guys, I've got a lot of peanuts. I save these just like I do the bubble wrap, but man, this stuff takes up a lot of space, and well, it's like Christmas Story. It runs all over. So let's dig in here and see if I can do this without making a mess. So the way ComicLink does it is, in the middle of all of those peanuts, here's a big padded envelope, and I can feel the 2 books right in there. As I said, I don't know which order this is, but we'll find out. I'm excited about this because the one I've never had before, I'm excited because I never had it before, but the other ones are going to be in really good grades, and yeah, okay, good. The one I've never had before is going to be in the 2nd box, but in this one right here, let me show you what I picked up, starting with the first appearance of Rogue, and Madeline Pryor, for that matter. And I might as well just give you the grade. It's a 9.6. I picked this up off of ComicLink, as I said, and this right here is, it's a really good grade. I've got this graded, I think, as a 9.2 from my own PC. I was really disappointed in that. In fact, it's a book that I'm considering cracking out because I didn't agree with that grade when it came in to me last year. But one of the things I've been talking about lately is you've got dealers who are selling raw comics for the graded price out there. But the graded books, I think you can find really good deals on this because these are still going for certain prices. In fact, they're going for less because people are really, seems like the people are really focusing on raw books. And I guess that's why the dealers are trying to get as much money out of the raws as they possibly can. And I'm just finding, I continue my last couple episodes, what have I been talking about? Find ComicLink, Heritage Auctions, even with the buyer fees and the taxes and the shipping. This right here, I literally am buying this for about $80 less than fair market value right now. And you're going to see that throughout the rest of this video today. The rest of these, the value that you can buy this cheaper than you can, basically, if you wanted to buy a raw, you're paying about the same amount. And that's crazy to me. I'd rather just buy the graded version. Now, yes, I would like to find a raw that I can get up to that 9.8. Yes, that's what I'm striving for. But I'm really satisfied with the 9.6. You guys know I love 9.6 on the John Byrne X-Men. This is a book that's worthy of a 9.6 in a PC. I think this is a great book to have like that. So, happy to have that right there. Can't go wrong with a 9.6. Yes, it's not a 9.8. But as I said, $80 under fair market value, and that may be even more depending on recent sales from eBay and things like that. Definitely check out Go Collect and Cover Price and things like that, and go and check out the prices on things, and you will see that you can make better deals a lot of times on the graded books at grades that are really respectable than you can for buying a raw and then taking that chance and those extra expenses getting that book graded. So, just saying. All right, second book in here. This one this is an upgrade in my PC, and I'm just looking at it now, and it is, wow. It's going to be interesting to see what the grader's notes on this next book is, because I'm looking at it right now, and man, this looks really good. Man, I am always so tempted to break these out sometimes, but I'll show you what I got. We won't go down that road until we cross that bridge. Spider-Man, 194 as an 8.5. first appearance of Felicia Hardy, The Black Cat. And this is a book that I owned. I had my original copy. I ended up selling that, mostly because I was going to get it graded. It was in really nice shape. But as I was inspecting it, now this is my personal copy I was talking about, up around here in the middle of her hair, where it's very white, there was a tape pull right in the middle of her hair. And you didn't even hardly notice it. In fact, I mean, I had that thing ready, almost shipped out of here to go to CGC. And I looked at it a little closer and I'm like, oh my God, that tape pull was awful. But it was all in her hair. You couldn't even see it. So I ended up just selling it raw and got rid of it. And I wanted it back in my PC. Since then, I have bought a 7.5. Again, I bought it below market value. And I have bought a raw, which I think I drastically overpaid for it. But it's one of those that's still in the shop to be worked on. But I came across this when I was watching ComicLink auctions. And I will tell you this right here, 8.5. I bought this for about $120 less than fair market value. And that's crazy to me that you can do that. I could literally turn this around probably and sell it for probably about $400 at this point. I mean, it depends. There may be some other ones out there a little bit less, but I'm just going off of Go Collect's fair market value right now. And man, I think this was a tremendous value at an 8.5. And as I was looking at it earlier, I mean, just first glance at this, man, it is, man, I can't wait to read the grader's notes on this, because I'm looking at this spine. I don't see a spine tick. I'm looking at these corners, these black corners, and I don't see any dog ears. This right here is a surprising 8.5. Now, it does have creamed off-white pages. I'm not sure how much that affects the grade, but yeah, this is really nice. So, happy to have this as an upgrade to my PC. Definitely a great book. But here, I'm going to leave it right here. Let's go ahead and get into the other box while we're doing this. And we'll do the other two keys. And I will tell you that the other two are keys too. One of them is probably the least key, the smallest key out of this. But the other one is absolutely a monster key. And it's the first time I've ever owned that. I came close to looking at one. I was looking at one earlier this year, but the condition was not quite as much as I liked. And here we go. We have another padded envelope. And I'll save those as well, because I'll reuse any of this material as shipping materials later on. But let's see what we've got here. Okay, let's do the smaller key first. And what's so good about this one is I ended up buying it as a 9.8. I wish I had had this about a month ago, because I would have sent it back to CGC for a signing, because the writer, artist, and artist were down there at CGC doing a signing, and you'll know who I'm talking about as soon as I do this reveal. It's a 9.8 direct edition. It is Daredevil 181, The Death of Elektra. And of course, I'm talking about Frank Miller and Klaus Janson. They were doing a signing down at CGC. I had a copy, a raw, but it was not in the best condition. It did have this spine tick over here that I just couldn't get rid of. And I really wanted a 9.8, 9.6 on something like this. And I ended up buying this right here as a 9.8. I think they had a 9.6 as well, but the 9.8 to me was still in that range where I felt comfortable buying it. And again, $60 under fair market value right now. So happy to have this. I'll save this for down the road. I might end up doing, if they ever do another Frank Miller, Klaus Janson signing again, I may send this one in, have them crack it open. But just a little side note, I actually had my own personal copy of this. I had gotten Klaus Janson, Denny O'Neil, and Jim Shooter myself to sign it. And my wonderful wife, a few years ago, when Frank Miller first appeared at the Baltimore Comic-Con, I was unable to attend, but she was able to take this book, as well as several others, and get these books signed by Frank Miller. So I had gotten Frank Miller on, she had gotten Frank Miller on here. I had 4 autographs on there. And just a few days ago, I ended up doing my first submission to CBCS directly from home, not submitted at a show, but from home. And I sent that as well as several other books to CBCS to be authenticated and then graded and, of course, capsulated. So I'll be excited to get that one back because it was in really nice shape. I don't expect a 9.8 on that one, but I do expect it to be fairly high grade. It looked really nice. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about having a CGC Universal 9.8 on this. So awesome book, but we got one more. And this right here, I mean, that Black Cat Spider-Man 194 is really good. This one right here is a book that I never had as a kid. I had stopped reading Daredevil. It's another Daredevil book. I had stopped reading that, and I want to say around issue 113, 114. Didn't have hardly any issues until we got, honestly, I had a few issues here and there, but really I didn't have any other issues up until we got into the Frank Miller years. And so I missed a lot of stuff. Now I've picked up some books over the years going to comic book shops here and there, but I never had this one. And of course I missed over, I'm sitting here teasing this, and it's like, well, you're going, okay, you stopped at 113, 115, and then you went to the Frank Miller issues. You know what I'm talking about. There's only one really big key in there. Yes, and yes, I'm talking about 131, the first appearance of Bullseye. By the way, the second Bullseye, he's not the original. The first one was in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 15, and he ends up killing Nick Fury, one of my all-time favorite issues, by the way. But this is the first appearance of the Bullseye we all know and love from Daredevil. And I have never owned this. I came close earlier this year, like I was talking about, and LCS had one that was... It was a little too rough for my taste, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do much to it in terms of cleaning and pressing to get it up. But this right here was a 7.5. Let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, it's got a couple spine ticks, but the corners right here are both really sharp. This is a really nice copy. And it's relatively new. You can tell because it's got the QR code right here. So I can definitely scan that in and check out the grader's notes. But yeah, it's got a little, looks like a little finger bend color break right down here. Just a very minor one. It's hard for me to even pick up. Of course, I said a couple spine ticks, but man, that's a really nice 7.5. I will tell you that. And in terms, like, I haven't been giving you prices. I've been giving you how much it's less than fair market value. So I'm going to let you guys do your own homework. If you're curious to see what these books are going for, go to Code Collect, go to Cover Price. You can see what these are going for. And I'm telling you right now, this right here, it's about $60 less than fair market value. I mean, it wasn't the biggest deal, but come on, I'm still $60 under fair market value. That's a great deal. I couldn't be happier with this. Man, it wasn't on my list. If you guys know, I've been working on a 2023 goals list, a wish list for this year. It's not small, but these books weren't necessarily on it, but I just happened to be looking. Just like when you go to Whatnot, you just happen to be on there and you see a book and you're like, oh my God, that's right, I need that book. Well, I felt like the prices on these were prices. I don't think we're going to see these prices again. I think we're in a low right now. And I think the buying opportunities, especially for some of these graded books, are really there. You have a lot of opportunity right now, and I'm encouraging you guys, go out there, do your own research, take a look around. This is the time. I'm thinking this is the time to buy, and couldn't be happier with them. It's fun to say I finally have this 131 in my PC. Yeah, couldn't be happier. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed everything. Hope you enjoyed these books. Are these books that you have in your PC, or are these books that you want to add to your PC? Let me know by leaving me a comment in the comments section below. And if you're ever interested in any of the books that I have on my channel, reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com or DM me on my Instagram account. I also have a lot of books listed on eBay and Shortbox, and I'll leave links below so you can get to those and check out what kind of deals I have on some of the books I have in my collection. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you spending some time with me today again, and join me on the next show where I go over some other great books. I'm sitting here waiting for another big key to come in, and it is hopefully the deal will come through. I'll get the book. I'm still holding my breath waiting for it to come in, but stay tuned for hopefully the next episode where I reveal an even bigger key coming in. So that's it, guys. I'm out of here. Take care, and remember, every comic has a story.